What are we expecting for Syac in the top metagame predictions? Don't make the 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Alright, so what are we packing in here for the metagame? We're going to start off with Despia. I'm going to leave Despia at 1.5. I still think that this deck can still do a lot of things. It had fallen off very, very hard during last format, heading on into the new one, but it does get its next round of support. So that's definitely what you need to consider here in terms of value. We also, I guess Ninja still counts as a rogue deck. Actually makes sense here. I actually think that this for rogue is still fine. Obviously, a lot of players that can't handle this matchup, it's still is pretty good. I mean, like, who's gonna know what to properly play against this deck in terms of Ninjutsu art to flip down the opponent's monster. Labyrinth, I think with Chaos Angel, I think we're back up here at 1.5. I think that the deck is still going to be a very, very strong rogue pick. I think that I think it can still grind things out. This is a very early prediction. We'll have to wait and see, but I think for the most part, it deserves its placing up here. Punk, I'll leave in tier 2. I think that Punk as like the rogue factor, you can obviously combine it with multiple decks to make multiple levels of success for sure. But it has definitely been one of those decks as of late that can definitely curve out a lot of the metagame and perform well. Super Heavy, I think that this deck is going to come out very strong. I think a lot of people are going to be very shocked to see what this deck is going to do, because it's been a while since we've seen 40 monster cards with like no spells and traps in a main deck actually function. And I do think that we will see some sort of big change for the metagame in terms of power cards. That's for sure. But if it doesn't actually make a splash at tier 1, it'll float around 1.5. It's forecast to be one of the earlier, stronger decks. Libromancer. I think we're going to leave it down here in Rogue. I think, honestly, the deck still maintains a very, very strong metagame showing. I think that the deck has a very strong chance to continue to be able to break boards. But that's really, like, the best value that you have going for this. Trap Tricks. So, this deck has had a lot of success this format. I am going to leave it... It is like the borderline. We're going to leave it in like 1.5. Actually, man, it's tough because it's like 1.75, honestly. It's like in between both of these, unfortunately. I wouldn't say it's a tier 2 deck, but if you open up evenly, you're probably off to the races, usually. Evil Twin Sprite. It has had a couple of tops, honestly. Evil Twin in itself is not a good variant, but the Sprite version is by far one of the better variants. We will we'll put it here, and then we'll move Sprite up here. As long as Sprite doesn't get hit on a list, this deck has actually proven that it can do something, which I think is very good. Exosister I'm going to put in tier 2. Sakitama adds so much flavor to this deck. Like, Sakitama opens up so many plays, and I think a lot of people are actually going to be very shocked when they get the chance to play against this. I'm also putting it here because I'm not entirely sure where we're going to see the rest of the meta shape up for the format. But it feels like a very, very strong contender. And then, of course, I mean, if nothing gets hit on Cash Tier, the deck does remain in its exact same spot. Though, this deck has a pretty interesting matchup versus this, which I think is going to catch a lot of people off guard. And I think that's a particularly good thing here. Good old Mana Diem. I'm going to put Mana Diem down here in Rogue. You got to remember, like, Scareclaw inherently exists, and Scareclaw, like, the Scareclaw version of the deck is just better. Whether or not you choose to like play the Mana Diem engine with it, it is really up for your own decision to see. Dark World, we'll still leave it in tier 2. I think that the deck has had a very strong presence as of late. It has maintained a very, very strong footing on the metagame, and it does scare a lot of people when it does fully resolve. Same thing here with Drytron. I'm going to put Drytron in tier 2. Drytron feels better than everything else in this category, usually. Captain Carey and Friends, I'm going to leave this in Rogue. The new support they do get does feel pretty good. I think a lot of players are going to be very, very intrigued by how to play the combos for this. We'll have to wait and see. It'll definitely be up there, though. Mathmech is, honestly, I really want to put Mathmech up here. Like, Circular is just that good. Like, Circular has opened up so many doors for this deck that it's actually insane. We also got Dragon Link. Man, is Dragon Link... Oh, man. I'm going to put Dragon Link down here in Rogue. The deck has fallen super hard. Actually, we're going to move this down here into Rogue. Marincess has had more... Marincess has popped off this format, actually. I'd actually kind of move this up. Rika's also had some decent success this format. Same thing with Flounder. Flounder is kind of moved down a little bit. We'll put Flounder here. I think that Flounder being one of the best decks in the room for countering the format is really good, especially when you can, punish your opponent with Giant M-Pen. It is very, very strong. Minkanko, we do get the new stuff. Put it down here in Rogue for now. I'm not sure how this is gonna, suit up. I'm also going to move this up here. I think that a lot of people are going to look at Purely this format, and they're going to go, wow, like, what utility can this deck actually bring to the table? Well, quite a lot. Purely is busted. And I think a lot of people are going to be very shocked to see what Purely can actually do. The random utility options make that deck crazy. So do keep that in mind. Sky Striker, I would say it's Rogue. It can still do stuff. Oh, Naturia. And, man, so first of all, Naturia Runic. Sorry, get out of the way. Honestly, it's up there. Like, this deck has been, this deck has been like a monster. Like, I think a lot of people are very shocked to, like, see how this like, works. Like, this deck has been very, very strong, per se. Maybe I'm putting Super Heavy a little bit high, but it's up there. Dinosaurs have also topped a lot this format. Dinosaurs actually snagged a lot of tops, like, last regional weekend, which is kind of interesting. Sword Soul, I'm going to put it in tier 2. I still think it bridges the gap. Honestly, for funsies. We don't have Chaos Ruler. Like, if we had Chaos Ruler, I think that this deck would be a lot better. Honestly. What is this, like, ABC Thurion? This deck is also still, like, solidly Rogue. Honestly, it really is. And Plunder Patrol had a decent amount of tops as well. Is Plunder more like tier 2, though, versus, like, other stuff down here? Honestly, man, is it better than Dragon Link? I guess it depends on the player, but, like, I would probably put this down here in Rogue. Honestly, I think that the deck has had a lot of decent success as of late. It has done pretty well. It's been a little bit quieter as of late, but, in terms of, like, your metagame setup here, everything feels semi in place with the combo lines for them. So we'll have to wait and see how things kind of shape up, but very early predictions from what a lot of people are expecting. There's a possibility of a ban list coming through, that's for sure. If we do see some sort of, change on a list, then that will greatly affect what we're expecting, but I think this works for now. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.